The battle between President Trump and Governor Pretty Boy, Governor Gavin Newsom of California, over the rioting, over the alleged protesting, if that's what we want to call it. It is a darn shame, and thank God that we have leadership in this country called a man by the name of President Trump that was proactive to deal with this nonsense. Cut it out, California Attorney General, arguing that Trump unlawfully activated the National Guard. Well, when Abraham Lincoln did it, what would you call it then, Mr. Attorney General? Dominic Carter here with you. We're talking California, the rioting taking place, the disgusting rioting taking place. And you can reach me at 800-848-9222. Tensions continue to escalate in Los Angeles after the president deployed the National Guard. And there's a back and forth going on between Governor Gavin Newsom of California and President Trump. President Trump just seconds ago declaring that border czar Tom Homan should have the governor arrested.
Gavin Newsom he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it?
I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
President Trump referring to the claim that border czar Tom Homan should have the governor arrested. Governor Newsom, for his part in California, speaking just last night, he's not blaming the violence on the alleged protesters. He's blaming the violence. You cannot make this up. He's blaming Gavin Newsom is blaming the violence on the President of the United States.
Well, I mean, look, Donald Trump has created the conditions you see on your TV tonight. He's exacerbated the conditions. He's, lit the proverbial match. He's putting fuel on this fire ever since he announced he was taking over the National Guard. An illegal act, an immoral act, an unconstitutional act, and we're going to test that theory with a lawsuit tomorrow.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Sorry to interrupt you, but Governor, so that's news. If you're going to sue the administration, tell me a little bit about it. Give us a preview of this lawsuit.
Well, under his executive order, it specifically notes, and under what the DOD did, is they had to coordinate with the governor of the state. They never coordinate with the governor of the state. I've worked with the National Guard. We've deployed the National Guard. We did 3,000+ folks have been doing logistics work and fire recovery work, and they're fighting the fires, the rattlesnake teams. We did the same back in George Floyd. We have no problem working collaboratively in a mutual aid system with local law enforcement, but there's a protocol, there's a process. He didn't care about that.
And of course, so what's happening in Los Angeles now? These are people. I mean, I made this comment the early show this morning. These are people that never want to get a job. They're bums. They want the ones that are protesting and looting. They want someone to take care of them forever. They feel that government's responsibility is to give them a paycheck. I almost said something else that I shouldn't say that would get me in trouble. But they bring no value to society. Let me be very clear about this. President Trump didn't start this, but President Trump is going to finish it via the National Guard, via the Marines, whatever deems necessary to get this violence under control. You can bet your bottom dollar on it. This president is going to get the job done. That's why we elected him. Period. Full stop. End of story. Let's begin with your telephone calls. Let's begin. Line 2, Lewis in Florida. Lewis, what's on your mind?
Hi, I'm in Florida, and here I was listening to a radio show, and I happened to well, let me just lower this thing on my...
Okay, you got to move quick, Lewis. I can't stand here waiting on you. So quickly, go ahead. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I was watching...
Okay, you said that already. I don't need to hear you was listening to another radio show. What is your point?
Yeah, there's a movie called Death Valley Days, the battle...
Okay, Lewis, for the last time, what is your point? And then I'm moving on. What is your point? Get to the point.
I want to let people know about a TV show that's
okay,
related.
I'm done. Let's go to line one. Barry in Manhattan. Barry, what's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, thank you for taking the call, sir. Yeah, I feel that the people in the news should not be calling what's going on in L.A. a demonstration. It's clearly a riot, and I don't like it being characterized that way.
Well, you know what, Barry? Unfortunately, we don't get to control what the media does, right? So they're absolute phonies. I've been in these situations many a times, wearing bulletproof vests and having off-duty police officers that are disguised around me to protect me so that I'm not hit in the head with a bottle. It's not a fun. This happened in Crown Heights. It happened a couple of times in Brooklyn. Not a fun situation. But unfortunately, Barry, we don't get to control what the media says. So they're absolute phonies, right? They want to make it as anything but a riot. Anything but a riot. You know why? Their liberal bias is coming out. They don't want to tell the truth that these people are acting like monkeys. Literally, these protesters. They don't want to tell the truth. They don't want to admit. We're going to play a report in just 1 second about the looting that is going on in Los Angeles. They don't want to be honest. So what do? Oh, it's a peaceful demonstration as the cars are burning in the background. Excuse me, folks. You have no credibility when you do that. Barry, if it looks like a riot, if it sounds like a riot, guess what? It's a riot. You have the final word, Barry. Go ahead.
Dominic, that's fantastic, sir. I appreciate all that hard work, and you are right. And they absolutely should not be doing it. And at the top of the hour here, they sort of gave you both options, but it's not an option. It's a riot, and I love you for all the hard work and being out there in the front lines.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Barry. Again, let me be very clear, folks. The one thing I will say about my colleagues, it's no fun when you're out there covering these types of situations. You're live. People are disrupting you in the background. They're putting up the middle finger. You'll see the words that are being spelled out on these burning cars. And I learned something new. What, Waymo? Is that what it's called? Carlos, is it Waymo where the cars drive themselves in L.A.? What app is that? Some app, I forgot the name of the thing. But I don't know why they're burning those vehicles in L.A. And by the way, we see all of your calls. I know you folks complain that you can't get through. So just wait a moment and then hit redial, and you should be able to get through. Let's go to Eduardo, line 2, Tampa, Florida. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Dominic. Yeah, it's Waymo. I saw them when I went to Phoenix.
Wait, what's
Waymo,
the name of it?
Yeah.
Waymo.
Waymo.
And wait,
Waymo,
and the cars drive themselves.
Yeah, they're white cars. At least the ones in Phoenix.
Okay, so wait. Explain this to me. So why are these savages? Why are they burning up the Waymo cars? I don't know. What's the point? Why they're burning up those cars in particular?
Fun play. I mean, they will vandalize that, or vandalize the business, because there was they were run out of a rooftop party a couple weeks ago, and they took it out on the streets and ransacked businesses. So these are the same bunch of people.
Okay, so wait, I'm stuck on this Waymo thing. So these cars actually drive themselves?
Drive by themselves? Yeah, they're from San Francisco.
I got it. But wait. But they work. You're telling me they work?
Yeah, they work, but they got a problem because there's been incidents where they don't stop and they got into accidents. So they're not 100% accurate.
Are they 90%?
Yeah, you could say that, but it's not like a.
Okay, so wait, I'm just because I'm fascinated by this, obviously, by how much time I'm spending on it. So you get into the vehicle as like a taxi cab. I don't know how this works. You get in as like a passenger, and you get in the front seat or the back seat, or you don't know.
Yeah, you're in the back seat. No, you're not allowed to go. Yeah.
Okay, so you get in the back seat, and it already knows the destination you want to go to.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
I never written those, but I
okay.
saw
So
them,
wait. Just help me out. So why would someone do that as opposed to an app or a taxi? Why would you get in one of these vehicles?
It's just like doing Uber. That's why they get into that stuff. It's the same thing.
Okay, yeah. But then why not do Uber where you have a human driver as opposed to? Is this just a thing? I'm looking up at New York One. I see my old friend Bill Thompson. I remember when I moderated the debate for mayor, the general election debate between Bill Thompson. Bear with me a second here, Eduardo. Between Bill Thompson and Michael Bloomberg. I had never been pressured so much in my entire life at New York One at the time. And to keep me away from the Thompson people and the Bloomberg people, they put me up for a week in a hotel, an undisclosed hotel where the room was not in my name. And so you were not supposed to be able to get access to me as we were preparing for this general election debate. And somehow the campaigns found me. And folks, if you knew what goes on behind the scenes in terms of how they try and get into a moderator's head, almost like an umpire to get the next call. You're not going to get this one, but the next call. So I see Bill Thompson is back. And Bill Thompson was a moderate, and Bill Thompson should have been the mayor of New York City. But Bill Thompson was out-blacked. Bill Thompson was out-blacked by Bill de Blasio, who has his son with a afro. And Bill de Blasio did that commercial where he said, I have had to have the talk that all black people have to have with their young men. I've had to have the talk with my son. And de Blasio won the primary for mayor. One of the worst mayors ever to hit New York City. And he beat Bill Thompson, the moderate that was pro-law enforcement. And so I see Bill Thompson is back. It's nice to see him. Eduardo, go ahead. You were making your comment. Go right ahead.
Well, the reason I called in is, I don't know if you saw this, Karen Bass, she's the mayor over there. She was in the 70s visiting Cuba, getting indoctrinated with these some kind of grade.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense. Have you seen what this nut job of a mayor had to say regarding the rioting? Have you seen it, Eduardo? Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. 22 permits. Check this out. 22 permits of rebuilding LA Fire. Way to go, Karen Bass. You're really kicking ass over there.
Right. So your city is burning down, Madam Mayor, and you're in Africa somewhere on behalf of Biden at the swearing in of some African president that nobody ever heard of, and your whole city is burning down. You should have resigned in disgrace at that point, but she didn't resign. Oh, no. She comes back now, and she's blaming Trump, just like Pretty Boy Newsom. They're blaming Trump for the violence and not the people that are out there committing the violence. Quickly, Eduardo, I got to take a break. Go ahead.
Yeah, expect that in all the blue states. This is going to happen. Keep on going. They're going to have the same answer. We're going to sue your Uncle Sam, and they're not going to be shamed by President Trump. They have no shame.
It surely does seem that way. Thank you for the wonderful call. Folks, it is time for a break. We're coming right back with more of your calls, 800-848-9222. And I am looking at my Twitter, at my ex, and Debbie Lebedo. Debbie, Staten Island, says what I just said at the top of the show. There's a new sheriff in town, people, and that's President Trump. He will do everything and anything to protect our country. Get used to it. Isn't that exactly what we want in leadership? Isn't that what you want? Do you want someone like Kamala Harris siding with these savage protesters? Because that's what they are. They don't want rule of law. They don't want anything that's productive. They want government to take care of them forever. They want to be able to light cars on fire, antagonize police officers, spit in police officers' faces. And that's why I love what President Trump said. You spit, we hit. Crack their heads wide open. Send them to the emergency room. They won't spit at anyone else. I assure you of that. Oh, that's harsh. How could you say that, Dominic? Well, how could you spit in a police officer's face? You spit in their face, crack their head wide open. That's my answer. 99% of police officers won't do that. You know, after all, they would be the ones held accountable, not the quote unquote protesters. But it's not a riot, in L.A. It's not a riot. Not a riot. Dominic, why are you saying it's a riot? I want you to listen to this. A minute of this. We see all your calls. We're going right back to this. The smashing that you're about to hear are these losers smashing windows at police headquarters. So the equivalent of one police plaza in New York City. Just listen to this, and you tell me if it's not a riot. It's not a riot, right? No, it's not a riot. It's a protest. It's a protest. They have a right, a First Amendment right to protest and to smash windows in Los Angeles of the police headquarters, right? Right? Back to your telephone calls. Let's go to line 4, Ray in Brooklyn. Ray, what's on your mind?
Right on, Dom. I got the Gingrich remarks in my head, and I notated a couple of things real quick. I won't hog up the airtime. I wondered if you heard the Mark Twain saying, politicians in diapers have a lot in common. They should be changed often, especially when the latter is filled with baby dew. Dom, can we turn to SCOTUS, or are they going to be as difficult as the district judges? I mean,
whoa. I don't understand the point you're making about diapers and all, but I'm going to leave that alone. You're talking about SCOTUS. Turn to SCOTUS for what?
Are they going to be as difficult as district judges, depending on who appointed them? Because this stuff's
Okay, Ray, I hear you. But when you mention SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, their word is final, all right? It's not like a lower court, a lower federal court, where they basically punt to the higher court. When you mention SCOTUS, that's it. It is the law of the land. 800-848-9222. We are coming right back. And back to our breaking stories in just a moment, but let me divert for just a second. And as I did early this morning, please, folks, say a prayer on Twitter. She's known as Jersey Shore Girl. Lori, she's battling cancer, back in the hospital. She's in the fight of her life. And I believe that things happen in life for a reason. So why God aligned me with Lori, I don't know. But there's just something about her. Maybe it's her positive nature. So she's in the fight of her life. And she put on Twitter just minutes ago, it's almost showtime, folks. Our favorite radio host on WABC. And then she said what I often say, let's go. So I want you to think about that. Lori's in the fight of her life. This weekend, she had to call an ambulance. And she's back in the hospital. And she's being positive as she's in the fight of her life. So please, and Lori sent me an email. I don't like to reveal private information unless I'm allowed to share it, unless I'm told that I can share it by the individual. But just, Lori, just know that you are in our thoughts. And if you're on Twitter, folks, please, Jersey Shore Girl, give her a shout out. Say hello. She really could use our love, and she really could use our support.
And now, with decades of experience covering elections, here's Dominic Carter's Daily Briefing on the New York City mayor's race.
And so yesterday, all the candidates were out for the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City, a big festivity. And if you're running for citywide office, you have to be at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. This as long shot candidate Michael Blake, who was one of the shining stars at the first debate, is suing to get on to the final debate stage, claiming that his donors were illegally rejected. So he's suing. And the final debate is Thursday night on Spectrum, New York 1, and he's hoping to get on the ballot, but, he made the first debate. We don't know what is going to happen with this one. So the battle in California between the president of the United States that won every single battleground state, that came into office with a mandate. In other words, he has the credibility. And Governor Pretty Boy, Gavin Newsom in California, is continuing. He's calling Trump a bold-faced liar. The president is saying that he had no choice but to send in the National Guard. So who do you think I'm siding with? Do you think I'm siding with the Pretty Boy governor, who, by the way, Governor, I didn't forget that your chief of staff, that you were nibbling on his wife and broke up that man's marriage. I didn't forget that, Governor Pretty Boy. I kid you not, folks. I interviewed Gavin Newsom maybe 3 or 4 times. And every time we went to a break, dude was combing his hair and looking in a mirror. And I'm the host of the show, and the makeup people are not even taking that much care of me. And this guy Every time we went to a break, he was fixing his hair. And that will always stand out with me. So let's get back to your telephone calls. Let's go to line 3, Mike in New Jersey. What's on your mind, Mike?
Yes, hi, Don. It's nice to talk to you. Just one question.
Yes, sir.
I agree with Tom what he's doing. I call it a riot, but what do you call January 6th?
Okay, so let's cut through all the nonsense. What are you really asking me?
I'm asking you this now. What happened in LA is a riot.
Right.
Consider it a riot. What do you call January 6th?
Right, you said that already. You said that already. But I feel like you're asking me a loaded question. What are you really asking me? I need you to elaborate. All you did was repeat what you said the first time. What are you really asking me?
6 is not a riot?
Okay, wait. Just, Mike, please, because I got to move on to other calls. Just please put it out on the table. What are you really trying to say where you're trying to put me on the spot? What are you and I don't mind me being on the spot, but I don't understand exactly what you're asking me.
English. What do you call
Okay,
January?
I don't need you to say it a third time. I need you to elaborate a little bit more. What are you actually trying to say? That's what I'm asking you. And then I can comment. But I can't comment until I know exactly what you're trying to allude to.
Okay, what Trump initiate in January 6th, what do you call it?
Right, okay, so this is now the fourth time. It's not going to be a fifth. You keep saying the same thing, but you're not. What are you trying to say? They're the same? Are you trying to say LA is worse? Are you trying to say January 6th is worse? What exactly are you trying to say, Mike?
Because some people get killed. It's even worse.
So you're trying to say January 6th was worse. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Even I voted for Trump.
Okay, well, I don't know about that. Let's look at this for a second. So anybody on January 6th that went inside the legislative buildings, I'm sorry, folks, you screwed up, and you got to pay the piper. Now, going to jail for years, that's not fair. But it seems to me, Mike, and I'll give you the final say, that the violence in L.A. is worse. We're looking at police cars on fire. We're looking at police officers that have been maced, and they have to get emergency medical treatment. We're looking at all types of nonsense that occurred in L.A. the last couple of days. So how was January 6th worse? You tell me.
Okay, I agree with you 100%. What he's doing in L.A. is 100%. Nobody should, treat the police or the federal. Nobody should do that. But you have to call it when it's wrong on the other side. That's my problem with this radio. It's one way.
Okay. Whoa. You can't hold me responsible, Mike, for what my colleagues say. I don't get to control what they say. Some of them know what they're talking about. Some of them don't. I'm being honest with you. But it's unfair to call me up and say, oh, this entire radio station. That's not fair. I'm only responsible for me, myself, and I. And I'm always going to tell you the truth. And I know what I'm talking about, unlike some of my colleagues. I'm being as honest and direct as I can be. Now, obviously, I'm not going to name names. But when I say something, you can take it to the bank. And that's the bottom line. So, and maybe you didn't hear me, Mike. I started out by saying on January 6th, if you went inside a government building, then you deserve what happened to you. Even though it was a bit extreme for the prosecutors to send you to jail and solitary confinement and go to jail for years at a time. But yet, Black Lives Matter, they didn't go to jail, right? Did they go to jail, Mike?
Hold on. I'm talking about...
No. See, you don't want to deal with the full truth. Did Black Lives Matter go to jail, Mike?
I don't agree with the black... I'm not...
Okay.
Look,
Mike, let's you and I start a chapter of Black Lives Matter. And we can pimp America too. And buy ourselves some mansions. And I can finally move to Saddle River or Alpine. If we start, Mike, a Black Lives chapter branch. I'll be the face of it. I'll be outside and I'll say, no justice, no peace. I'll say it about 100 times, and I'll say, we're going to shut down your business unless you donate $1.5 million. Macy's, and go down the line. And they're all going to give up the money, and then I can buy that $10 million house in Alpine. I can finally go to Alpine. So let's do that. Let's do that. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic here. Let's go to line 5, Paul in New Jersey. Paul, what's on your mind?
Yeah, Dominic, I'm just want to talk about the bigger picture here, and that's this culture of violence that we have in this country. Last night, there was a guy in Las Vegas in front of the Bellagio fountain who was live streaming, and somebody comes up to him and shoots him 8 times on live camera, and the video is still circulating. But what's really disgusting is, the camera kind of goes black, and you hear a child screaming in his mom's arms. This is the Bellagio fountain, and somebody comes up and shoots somebody 8 times. And I don't think it's really in the news right now today. This happened last night. It's just disgusting what's going on. It's just the whole picture in general.
Well, this is what happens when you have Mangione, whatever his name is, when you shoot a CEO of a healthcare company and everyone thinks it's wonderful because he's good looking and women are throwing their panties, oh, look at me, look at me. It's the culture we live in. And the truth is, Paul, here's the honest to God truth. People are miserable. And everyone, for some reason, I don't know why, loves negative. So that video that you're referring of in Vegas, it's going to continue to go viral because people love the train wreck. People love the train wreck, period. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Mike, line 4, New Jersey. Mike, what's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic. That January 6th, it's a good thing to look at. So now we know what to do. We just gather them all up. We will charge them with the most minor thing up to the most serious thing. We'll coerce them into guilty pleas, and when they don't plead guilty, we'll put them in front of biased juries and judges, and we'll lock them up, put them in solitary confinement until they get a liberal president to get them out.
You know what? Unfortunately, that sounds quite realistic, the way the system works. And it's just horrible, but we do have to have one set of rules. We really do have to have one set of rules. And so the people in L.A., but they're not going to be prosecuted or they may be arrested. They're not going to be prosecuted. Why? Because they have the governor on their side. They have the mayor on their side. Think about this, Mike. The governor and mayor, they're blaming Trump. They're ignoring what these savages are out on the street doing. It's the world that we live in, unfortunately. Thank you for the great call. Let's go to line 1. Joe in Mount Sinai. Joe, what's on your mind?
Good afternoon, Dominic. As far as these people in L.A. waving the Mexican flag or whatever flag they were waving, that crap wouldn't fly when I was 18 years old. It wouldn't fly. They would get their asses kicked like they did on Broadway when the construction workers from the World Trade Center ran up when they were protesting the Vietnam War and kicked the crap out of them. It's never going to end unless we end it. And 1992 years ago, that's how far back you got to go.
Joe, you're 1,000% correct. You're 1,000%. And I'm going to let you finish, Joe. I'm thinking about growing up in this city, right? Young black male in the Bronx, 184th Street, right off of Webster Avenue, right next to Belmont, right next to, I guess you call it Little Italy of the Bronx. And we knew growing up, you do not go in Little Italy and commit a crime. You know why, Joe?
No.
Tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why.
Go to Harlem and commit a crime.
Right. Well, tell me why, Joe.
You get your ass kicked.
Absolutely. Young black child. You crossed over Webster Avenue and went into the Belmont section, the Italian community, and you robbed one of those little old ladies, or you did something committing crime in the community. Guess what the Italian American community did, Joe?
They kicked your ass.
And you ain't come back no more, because when you got there, you might have a few baseball bats, I kid you not, waiting for you. And even if they didn't get you at that time, they were going to, but guess what? It sent the message of whatever you're doing in your community, you better keep it in your community. If you bring it here, we're going. And so you're right. Go ahead, Joe. You have the final word. Quickly, please.
When I grew up in the 70s, probably the same period you did, the Jews had Maya Kahana, and you couldn't do anything in Borough Park, Williamsburg. They'd come with the school buses and the garbage can covers, and they would kick your ass. And as far as my final thing is to find another person that's been demonized wrongly like Donald Trump, you have to go back 1992 years ago, and his initials were JC. And I kid you not, I'm not saying this to be shocking, but look at it. Even Hitler is more favorable than Donald Trump.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But thank you for the call, Joe. We have got to take a break. Dominic Carter here with you, 800-848-9222.
It's time for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Final Thoughts.
And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation final thoughts of the day. We're going to let you hear what President Trump just said a short time ago about L.A., but I'm looking at my Twitter, at my X, at Dominic TV. You can follow me there, post a comment there. Linda says to Jersey Shore girl who's battling cancer back in the hospital, Linda says, hi, sending you love from Linda in Rockland County. Debbie Lebedo says, I was just texting with Lori, that's her name, and I said the same thing. He, God, orchestrated our friendship. He's up to it. I'm going to make some soup and bring it to her next week. So, Debbie, you have a heart of gold. You really do. And Debbie's spunky now. She'll give it to you. She'll give it to you when she disagrees with you. But Lori, Jersey Shore girl, again, I'm going right back to your telephone calls. We're going to listen to President Trump in just 1 second. Please know we're all pulling for you, and we know you're in the fight of your life, and we know it's not easy. We know it's not easy, but don't give up. You are a fighter. Don't give up. Never give up. And that's a message. We get tired. We all get tired. Lord knows, this past weekend, I was in Geneva, New York speaking. Then I had to get to Providence, Rhode Island for my daughter. Many of you can look at my Twitter, at my X. My daughter was inducted into a very honorable society, but she likes to keep a very private life. So I'm not saying where she works, but she has I'm just going to leave that alone for the time being. But so I had to get from Geneva, New York to Providence, Rhode Island, within 12 hours, speak, and then get back here to be with you folks last night. So we all get tired, but you keep going. You keep going. President Trump responding to if the crime Governor Gavin Newsom in California committed was running for governor in the first place.
Have you gotten warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's a wrong philosophy. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals. And we have to do something about it. And we're doing something about it. I want to thank the incredible patriots of ICE and Tom Homan, who has been incredible, and Kristi Noem, likewise incredible. The job they're doing, and it's like an unforced error. There was no reason for this. 21 million people were allowed into our country, and many of those people were criminals. And it's a shame. It's a shame. But we're getting them out, and I will say I think it's a 95-5 issue.
And one of those individuals that ICE in California just arrested, I want you to think about this. Let this marinate. A guy was convicted of some type of rape, released, and then convicted to 37 years for rape with a forcible object. Think about that for a second. We're talking about deviant behavior, rape using a forcible object. Now you do the math. This is one of the Boy Scouts that ICE just arrested, and these savages want ICE to go away. They want Kamala Harris and crime all across the country. Well, you're not going to get it because we have something called President Trump, and it's just not going to happen. Marie, line 4, Long Island. What's on your mind, Marie?
Hi, Dominic. I want to talk about January 26th quickly.
January 26th, you said?
Yeah.
What's January? You mean January 6th?
I'm sorry, January 6th.
Okay,
yeah.
but you got 20 seconds, so go ahead, please.
Okay. Donald Trump is no fool, and he knew something was probably going to happen there. So he wanted to call in the National Guard. Nancy Pelosi said no.
Okay, but I get sick of talking about that, Marie. That's yesterday's story. When are we going to let it die? How long are we going to focus on January 6th?